welcome back to my channel. If you're returning, if you're new here, my name is Tori and I have been absolutely AWOL on this channel for a good minute. So I figured I would try to explain all the things that have been happening in a very quick and probably extremely unedited video. Like, I normally edit my videos and try to make them something I would be proud to put out there. But I doubt I'll be like doing heavy video editing because that has blocked a lot of like the reason, well, not a lot of the reason, but it is some of the reason why I haven't been posting as much, because I did get into an editing routine that took a lot. It didn't take a lot more time, but it was time consuming, and on top of filming, it just wasn't hidden, you know what I'm saying? So, where have I been? I'm gonna like try to plan and talk at the same time. So if you have questions about anything, please let me know in the comments below. I am trying to stay updated every week with at least my memory planner, which is this, but planning and journaling have like fallen to the side as of late because of certain life differences that you will definitely hear about. So, and YouTube was one of the things that had to be given up so that I could maintain my sanity for the moment. So I am in my hemlock and oak still. I have bought a Hobonichi for next year. I filmed the whole unboxing and everything. Never posted it. So one of the questions I would hope that if you're interested in more videos from me, you would comment below about whether you would want to see like older videos that just never got put on the channel to catch you up on where I've been and stuff, because I have that. I just never posted it. So if that's something you're interested, please let me know below. Otherwise, I am just going to be trying to catch up in my planner. So this is for last week, and I am trying to get ahead for next week because I'm never ahead on these things. As far as where I have been, last I think I mentioned was that I was transitioning out of my job at my public library. I used to be a public librarian, a children's and teen librarian, and so yeah, that was a lot. It was stressful. It was not a great fit for me and my personality. Just like I loved the job. It was just like other circumstances that just weren't the best for me. And so it like genuinely, I spent 5 years there, and it genuinely affected like my mental health and well-being. And I am kind of like coming out the other side of that now. And I feel like I've gotten like a fog lifted almost, or I don't know how to explain it other than just like my body is coming out of survival mode and burnout, and I feel more alert, and I feel more, I don't know, back to myself. After like, so I was diagnosed with depression and generalized anxiety disorder when I worked there, and I have since, you know, in those 5 years, I was maintaining my health as well as I could, going to therapy, all of this stuff. But, you know, if you're consistently going back to the thing that you struggle to deal with, it's kind of like you can only heal so much, I feel like, until you move on. And I'm finally in the moving on stage, and now I feel like I'm starting to feel and see actual changes. So that's really exciting, and it's coming at a really good time because I think I didn't mention it, and if I did, I don't remember mentioning it, but I did find out I was pregnant in May. So I am currently 7 months pregnant and trying to get everything together for that. So we will be welcoming a new family member hopefully next year, and we hope that it will be a boy, and he will be healthy and happy, and that's going to be a whole nother thing. So I don't know that I'm going to be like consistently posting on here yet, but I did want, since I have some time this morning, I did want to just go in here and update you all who are, if anybody's been wondering where I've been. I've also started my new job as a reading teacher for middle school in July, and in August I switched positions. So I was in the reading teacher position. It was like a remedial reading position for middle schoolers who were struggling, and I had been there literally for like a month, because our school system started school back on July 25th. And so I had been there almost a month, and one of the other teachers who taught English language arts for 6th grade had to resign due to health issues, and I immediately put in interest about the position, because that's essentially like what I was aiming for, was to find an English position in the school system, because I have a degree in English, and that's my jam. I love some English language arts, but the remedial reading job was more like the basics of reading, obviously, like phonetics, phonemics, all that stuff, and kind of going back over how to read effectively. And so I was a month into that and feeling like I just didn't know what I was doing. And then I put the interest in for that position, and they hired me for it. And then they hired who I feel is much more qualified individual for the position I was actually in. So I don't feel guilty about leaving that position ultimately, because I feel like I left it better than I left it with somebody in better hands than I had. So it was kind of one of those things where like that's bittersweet, because yes, that was like the position that got me into the school, but if we're being realistic, those children are much better off with who they have now. I will say that, because she was a literacy coach before she came there. She had the background for it. I did not. So now I am teaching 6th grade ELA, and I am loving it. I feel like it's one of those things that I ran from my entire, like, I got a degree in English, and I was constantly always asked, like, oh, so you want to teach? And I found it really like frustrating and insulting that's what people just immediately thought an English degree would lead you to. So I was always like, no, I do not want to teach. Like, stop asking me that. And I made it my mission to like not teach. Like, I wanted to stay away from teaching. I didn't want to do that. Because it was like, that's a thankless job. Nobody cares about how many hours you put in and how much work you do. Well, but the joke was on me, because that's public librarianship as well. So, essentially, I'm in the school system now, and I am really, really appreciating, like, my administration is very level-headed, supportive, not like some of the horror stories I have heard. So I appreciate that that's a thing. And, I have all the support I need, and because I am coming through a non-traditional track, I am observed more. I'm currently working to get my master's of arts in teaching, and that will certify me for a regular license. I have a 3-year license right now until I get my degree, and then when I graduate, I will get my 5-year regular license. And it's been a lot, but it's not nearly as overwhelming, it feels like, as public librarianship did to me, because I can see the results of the work that I'm doing. Whereas I said it before I even left the library, like, you don't see the growth, or like if you plant the seed, you don't get to see it grow. Whereas here in a classroom, you do get to see that happen, and you do get to kind of watch a kid work over a certain amount of time, and you get to see the changes, and it's like an honor, and it's so cool to watch. And yeah, it's just such a great, I enjoy it. And I feel like I was running from teaching, because not only was I stubborn about it, but like anytime I took like a spiritual gifts test, it was administration and teaching, and it always felt like that's where God wanted me, but I didn't want to be there. And now that it's falling into place, like there's no obstacles whatsoever, and that's how I feel like you can usually tell something is for you, like it's meant to be, because it's not a fight to be there, right? So it's been surreal in a lot of ways, and since I am trying to work in a new position, I'm still in graduate school, and I'm in my second to last semester, so next semester I will be juggling a newborn and grad school and a new full-time job. Yeah, I hope you can understand why I've been a little off the YouTube for sure. And, but other than, like, I'm saying all this, but I'm extremely grateful for all of it, because it has just been like it's been very fulfilling, and it's been, I don't know. I just feel like I am finally in a place where my personality suits what I do, and I know the right thing to do in my gut, and it usually is the right thing to do, and I'm not like gaslighting myself about, am I making the right choice? Is somebody going to be mad at me for this? Or is somebody going to think like I could have done something different and better? That kind of thing. Like I was constantly doubting myself in my previous job, and it was wearing on me, because I'm not the kind of person who can just like live with that. I need to be able to be confident in my job, and now I am in that space, and I am supported by leaders who make me feel empowered to make my own decisions without, you know, if it's something big, they are direct with me, and it's not like I have to guess why they're acting the way they are. And so it's just a better situation all around. And so, yeah. And we're on the baby front. We are just trying to make sure that we save some money, because I am not, like, I will be on unpaid maternity leave, so that's going to be fun. So we're trying to save some money before he gets here, and make sure that we have enough supplies and stuff. And that just looks like making sure he has clothes, obviously, diapers. I have spurts of nesting, and I'm sure it will get even more towards the end of the pregnancy, but as of late, it's just kind of been like cleaning the carpets, and right now I'm waiting on some organizing bins to organize our hall closet, because we have some caddies in there that I could use as diaper bin or diaper caddies instead of like buying some online. So instead of buying like $20 diaper caddies, I decided to buy $40 and $50 organizational bins, so I can fix my hall closet, so then I can take what's in the hall closet and use them as diaper caddies. So it totally makes sense. It's girl math. Okay, it works. And so I am currently there. We've got a changing table set up. We're going to get a bassinet soon. But it's just kind of been one of those things where it will all fall in place in time, and we're not rushing, because we know that, like, especially the first 3 months at least, that baby will not be in his own room. So we're not concerned with like actually setting up a nursery that much, because we know it's not going to be used very much in the beginning. I have 6 wow, can I talk? I've had 6 nephews and nieces, and I am not saying I'm an expert by any means, but I've observed enough to know a little bit about how newborn and infancy transitions happen. And I'm not making a big deal out of the stuff that doesn't need to be a big deal at this time. So I should be making a big deal about the fact that we don't have enough diapers, but I just, one fire to put out at a time, essentially. So we've been kind of just getting clothes here and there, and everything we get usually is either deeply discounted or Facebook Marketplace or somebody selling old baby clothes from one of our Facebook friends. Like, I don't think we bought anything brand new other than I went to Belk with my mom last weekend when she was in town, and we bought new baby clothes that were on sale because I didn't realize there was like a whole like Black Friday sale or something. And so we had gone to Belk and everything was like deeply discounted. If you paid $5, you would get the $5 back, all this stuff. So I got like over $100 worth of baby clothes for like $30. And that's been like the newest clothing I've purchased by myself. My sister-in-law, she's really excited, so she has been buying a lot of clothes for us, and she bought him some Nikes and some cute little sunglasses and stuff. She is just, it's really sweet to see how much she has been adding to it. And so yeah, it's been one of those things where like we're not pressured, but I'm sure that will feel different once go time finally comes and we're like, oh my gosh. But I honestly, I literally feel like we're like the least, I don't know. I feel like there's so much going on that like, oh yeah, I'm having a baby too, by the way. Like it's kind of like another thing that I keep forgetting about. And that's probably like more good for me than bad, because if I'm being honest, like if I were to make it a bigger deal, I feel like I would stress myself out. And I just need to let it come to me as it is and not like overthink anything, because I think overthinking the things ends up causing you issues as well. All that stuff. So, I'm just, if I see something I like and it's on Facebook Marketplace, I will definitely try to snag it. But we've got like some pack and plays, a baby bath. We have a crib that we got for free from his cousin, or from my husband's cousin. And, we're just chugging along. We've got a little bit of time left. I don't want to think about how much time we don't have left, because that's going to be weird. It's just so weird. I feel like, is it either, I don't know if it's like a trauma response or like it's just is what it is and nobody talks about it. But like when you have big things happen in your life and you don't, and like it's like a thing that everybody is like, this is a milestone. I don't know about y'all, but like I just kind of like dissociate a little bit, because I'm like, this isn't really happening. We're in a simulation. What? I gotta push a baby through what? So I don't know if it's like how my psyche protects itself or what it is exactly, but it works. I get to the bridge and I cross it when it's time. I don't stress about it before that. Not any stressing necessary anyways. So that's kind of where everything's at. I'm in grad school. I'm working in a new job and learning all the ropes on that. And, if you've ever heard any teacher talk, it's the first year is the worst year. The first year is the hardest year. And I would definitely have to agree. It is a lot of adjusting, but I think it's more learning to be wrong, and not necessarily wrong, but learning to grow and adjust your expectations of what you can accomplish and what the students can accomplish. And like coming to grips with like, you're not going to be the perfect teacher the first time. I am one of those people who wants to be perfect at it the very first time I try it, and that's literally not how humanity works. Like, you have to practice, and teaching is one of those things you have to practice to get better at. And I was talking to one of my principals and I said, I know I'm probably really rough around the edges. Like, it was right before a formal observation. And I was like, I'm trying really hard. Like, I know you probably look like you're coming into a storm every time you come in here. And he just was like, so nonchalant, because he was like, honestly, the first year I taught, I didn't come back. So it was funny to like have those conversations and hear their perspectives too, because he was like, the first year I taught, I didn't come back for the second year. I was like, no, this is not it. And it's just coming from such a different place where I don't have student teaching, but I have like years of experience with working with kids. I feel like I'm learning what student teachers learn on a certain level of like, kill your dream of wanting to be able to plan all of the things and whatnot, and focus more on like getting down the little things and the transitions and things like that. Because I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I do have behavior management on lock. Like I do. Just because public librarianship prepares you for that. Like, you have to be able to manage crowds of people of all age children who you like literally just met, so that you can get them through programming. And so you kind of have to be good and efficient at behavior management, because you're working with 200 to 300 kids at a time, and you have to make sure they're all like somewhat engaged and listening to whatever program you have going on. So I was, I was okay with that. It's just the finer details of like, hey, these are middle schoolers. They're still sensitive. Those kinds of things of like, adjust your tone. We need to make sure that we're covering all our bases when we go over things, and how we go over them if we review them. Just like those kinds of parts of teaching. And I keep, the first couple months, I did feel like a big failure. And my husband had to be consistently reminding me that like, hey, you've literally been doing this for 2 months. You need to calm down. Because I'd be so upset that like I didn't feel like I was doing it right, or I was failing the kids. And granted, I'm only in November and I started in July, so I'm not that much further along. Like, what is that? 6 months? January, July, August, September, October, November. 5 months, excuse me. I'm not a math teacher. But so a lot of that is like just me wanting to be perfect at it the very first time. And I would get frustrated, and my husband's like, my girl, you ain't done this before, and you're not gonna know how to do it perfectly. And I learned very quickly that none of the observation or anything, none of it is personal. I know that some people probably have administration where that may not be the case, and administration that may make it personal, but mine is not like that. And they just want to see the best for us, and they 100% believe that they work for us and not the students or the parents. So I'm very, very blessed in that regard, for sure. So it has been just a bunch of stuff going on. And so yeah, that's kind of where I've been at. I don't have much to say other than that, because it's just, I haven't been journaling. I haven't journaled since like May, and I need to get back on that. I will say that like I have reduced, or like I've weaned myself off of my medication for depression and anxiety. And I don't want to sound like, oh, she's off her meds, but like I deliberately and intentionally reflected on like what medications were bringing to the table for me, and I felt as though it was not beneficial, because I feel as though a lot of my issues were stemming from my workplace dynamics and how I was not in a place that best suited me. And that's not the place's fault per se. It's just, it is what it is. It was a situation I was in, and I'm not blaming any one person for that. But So with the pregnancy and the changes in my responsibilities at my work, it didn't feel necessary. So I did start weaning myself off. I lowered my milligram dosage, and then I eventually like trickled out of it completely. And I just feel like I've had, I don't want to say like the medication made me feel foggy, because at certain points the medication was the only thing keeping me above water. But as the situation changed, and I don't know, as my needs changed, it felt as though they were getting in the way more than they were helping, if that makes sense. So for that reason and others, you know, I didn't want to, was still taking the medication at the beginning of the pregnancy and the majority of the pregnancy so far, but I'm doing that. I'm not like refraining from taking my medication because I'm pregnant. Like, that's not what it is. I'd rather be taking medication and be mentally sound of mind while pregnant than not. But I feel like it was making me less mentally sound of mind to continue taking the medication than it was to not. I feel like more focused, and I have talked to like my support system, my husband and my mom, to be like, hey, if you notice changes, please flag that. You know, I don't want this to be like, I feel great and I can do all the things, and then that just be like the temporary of, you know, taking the medications off my plate, and then I lapse back into something. So I have people watching me to make sure that we're all good to go, and there would need to be no worries. So we're just kind of monitoring that, and my doctors are watching that as well, especially for post-birth and all that jazz. But for now, it feels like I've been carrying around 2 like extra weights on my shoulders, and I finally got to put them down, and now I'm like lighter. Because, for example, like, I have family members who have had experiences where they just completely became, as in their words, they felt like they were a zombie with certain medications. And I didn't feel that way, but it was starting to feel like I said, it was becoming more of an obstacle or a hindrance than a help. So now that that has been taken off of the plate, I guess, I feel just like my eyes are open a little more, mentally, and maybe not physically, because I'm in 3rd trimester, and the 3rd trimester exhaustion is like the 1st trimester exhaustion, but you're carrying around more. And I could sleep at any time. You tell me to turn this off and go to sleep, and I would not really fight that. So another reason I'm filming, try to stay awake, because it's like 11 in the morning, afternoon, on the weekend, and we need to like actually get up and do things too. I don't like using the excuse that I'm pregnant and I can sleep all day long as a justification. I do want to get up and do things. So what I'm doing now is catching up on my planner stuff. Let's see. Didn't do any of that. Great. Love that for me. As far as medicine goes, I am taking like heartburn stuff at night and allergy meds. So it's important to like keep that going, right? Because I have the worst heartburn. And you know, the old wives' tale that's like, if you have heartburn, it means you're going to give birth to a baby with a lot of hair. And at this point, I'm going to be really, really annoyed if my baby doesn't have hair. Because what was it all for? What was it all for? I should take out stock and Tums at this point. It is ridiculous. And it's not fun. And I'm not here for a good time with that. So, I do want to do some kind of I don't know what I want to do. Do I want to do a kit? Do I want to do stickers? Let's see what's in here. It is the last week of November. Technically, the last week of school for me anyways. Because I think we go here and then this is our Thanksgiving break. So I'm thinking of it as the last week of November because the next week is just fall break. Or, wow, Thanksgiving break. And so if I don't have to think about it, it's considered a break. I like that. That's cute. Trying to think of what I could use. My subscription was with the Coffee Monsters Co., but my card, I lost my bank card, and then I replaced it and never actually updated the information for my subscription, so I think it lapsed. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I haven't even emailed Helen to like be like, hey girl, do I still have a spot? Because it's one of those things, like, I don't want it to build up when somebody else could have it, and I just like have it, all the things in my desk, and I'm not using them. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Gonna do these pine trees from Karina Loves to Plan. She closed her shop, but it seemed to be for a good reason. She said she was definitely enjoying time with family and whatnot now that she doesn't have to like maintain the shop as much. So I think that's good, because you can keep a shop open all day long, but at the end of the day, the shop ain't gonna be there, and you gotta prioritize those important relationships. So fair enough. And this is called Pine Trees, or yeah, just the Pine Trees collection, I guess. I just love the way they're colored and they have the lights through them, but they're not like obviously Christmas themed. So because I am one of those people, you may think I'm like a downer, but I'm one of those people who I would prefer to celebrate Thanksgiving in the order in which the holidays arrive. I don't put my Christmas trees out until the day after Thanksgiving, because I really do, maybe it sounds corny, but I do want to reflect on, like, no, really, what am I thankful for? Like, before I go into, like, absolute Christmas frenzy mode. And I just really enjoy the time spent with family, all that jazz. Also, I just like making all the food too. So yummy. I will have help well, I always have help, but I'm really bad at accepting help, because I want to be, like, I have a huge ego, and that's one of my problems, is I want to be like the master chef and have everybody just be oohing and awing at my ability to handle everything by myself. That's like not healthy, actually. So this year my mom is talking about, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but when she was in town last weekend, and she's talking about having like my family come down for Thanksgiving here, which if that does occur will be mighty interesting, folks, because those are some personalities. Oh, and they know it. So we'll see if that happens. Either way, my sister-in-law will definitely be helping me take some of the cooking off my plate, since I will be a blimp. Not really. I'm actually, like, me and my husband were talking about this, with it being the first pregnancy, like, your first pregnancy is usually always your smallest, like, pregnancy with how you show, and your second pregnancy is like your body's like, oh yeah, I remember this, and it immediately gets gigantic. And I was like, you know, I'm only 7 months, but I just feel so tiny, and like I'm worried that he's not, you know, he could be bigger, but I think we're counting our chickens before they hatch, because who knows what will happen in the next 2 months. I could explode, and then I will be sad for the times that I was concerned we're here in the first place. So all of that to say, I do feel like I'm not I don't look like I'm 7 months. I don't think I do, but, you know, that may be a blessing. So, oh, just trying to get everything in order for this next week. We're reading Freak the Mighty, which is a fantastic book. If you've never read it, you should, because it like looks at themes of friendship, and it follows a book about a boy named Max, and he has a pretty interesting history that you get to know about as the book goes on, that I don't want to like spoil it if you do end up wanting to like look into it. But essentially something has happened in Max's personal life that people are afraid of Max for, and Max is like coming out of 7th grade, and he is not like, there's no reason for people to be afraid of him, but it's because of who he looks like and what the other people in his past have done. And so Max is just kind of like, he's like 6'2" and going into 8th grade. So that also is like, people notice him, right? And he has this kid move in next door named Kevin. And Kevin has a disability. I think it's called Morquio syndrome. And essentially Kevin's body did not grow. His head did, but he's like 2 feet tall. Also starting in 8th grade. So they are both students who like stand out amongst their peers. They are both like kind of outcasts for that reason. And they end up, you know, having a friendship or developing a friendship, because Kevin ends up moving in next to Max, and they call themselves Freak the Mighty. And it's just this really comforting story about like friendship and what it means to be a friend and whatnot. So the kids are really enjoying it. They like the way that so Max is the narrator. They like the way he talks, and they just I think they relate to some of what Max's thoughts are. And they find Kevin to be an entertaining character as well. And the events that are taking place in the novel, they pick up pretty quickly, and it's not like a bunch of boring exposition for them. So we had our first test over the chapters this past Friday, and most people did pretty well. So I'm excited to continue that this coming week. See how far we can get before Thanksgiving, because I'm hoping we can get somewhere where we hit a good point of action so they can remember, because they'll be out for a week. So I need to be able to end it on something that will pique their interest when they return. So that's my hope, that I can get to that point. But yeah, if you've never seen the movie and you don't want to read the book, it's called The Mighty, and it has like Sharon Stone in it and Gina Reynolds. It's somewhat faithful to the book, not completely, but it does a good job of hitting the main points of what the book did. So, yeah, I love it. There's a sequel called Max the Mighty, and I love it. I loved it as a kid when I read it, so I am passing that along. And that's another cool thing about teaching, is like you can literally, unless you have like an extremely structured curriculum, which we have a curriculum, but like half the time we don't even use it, because it's not something like a lot of our teachers enjoy, and our admin and the central office kind of like allow us that flexibility if we don't want to use it, and just use it as like supplementary stuff, which I think is wild, because who knows how much they paid for that, and they're just like, okay, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. Wow. But that kind of tells you the culture of the district I am in, which I'm actually very thankful for. But I don't know where I was going with that. I can't remember what I was saying. Anyways, all of that to say, I just like it. So Okay, this is the week so far. Sorry if my lighting's not that great. Let me zoom you out, or try to anyways. So, yeah, this is the Pine Trees collection from Karina Loves to Plan. And I'm just doing a Sharpie S gel with my hemlock and oak. And I need to get these down, so let me see. Use all kinds of things for these little dots that I never actually end up filling in half the time. But, you know it's the definition of madness to try to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. But I feel like that's also teaching. So, I'm just in the madness business, I guess. I'm going to drop movement from this because I put that circle a little too far down. So I'll just have 2. But at this point, walking is movement for my body because it's a lot. Like right now I'm sitting down, and when I get up and I try to move around, I'm going to be so stiff. I need to be exercising more, but I try to get in a lot of steps at work, and I know I should be doing more to like keep my hips open and whatnot, but I don't know if you got the mental, like got the image, but I feel like I'm juggling a lot, okay? Like I feel like I got a lot going on. So if I'm not Jane Fonda with this pregnancy, I think I'm still gonna make it through, even though I know some exercises will definitely help and prepare for birth in a way that wouldn't help, or like I wouldn't notice if I didn't do them. Like I've saved some exercise videos and whatnot about how to like just get your whole pelvic area ready for the trauma it's about to experience. But guys, I'm tired and there's like a million things to do. So shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's always something you could always be doing, and there's always something you should have done. So it's kind of like I can focus on what I should have and could have done, or I can just focus on trying to be in the best mental state and try to mobilize where I can when I can, or I can focus on all the things I'm not doing. And I feel like that is something I would not have been able to say cognizantly like a year ago. I would have just focused on the things I'm not doing, and that would have been the end of it. But at this point, I'm doing what I can, and that's going to have to be enough for me and for the people around me. And I can confidently say that without guilt. And again, I feel like that shows some growth that was not present. Where are my trash bags? Where are my trash bags? They're in here somewhere. I think I got them from Lexington Flair, or let me see. What's this other one? Could have been this company. I think it was called Loose Stellare. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe it's this company though. So I have stuff from this company here, Loose Stellare Paper Co. I hope they're still open. I don't know if they are. I haven't checked them out in a minute because I'm still using what I did get from them for like Happy Meal stuff. But this is either them or Lexington Flair, and I cannot remember to save my life. And I know Lexington Flair is still open, so they're both on Etsy. Okay, finish off. Oh, you know what? I should probably put a payday thing in too. Take out trash. And then we do have a weekly payday on Thursdays. Feeling a little money. Just a little touch. Not nothing too crazy. My washi tape will stay down. Kind of old, so that's probably why. All right. right. I definitely need to write in. If maybe this week I'll do it. I don't know. I'm not going to write that yet because there's still Sunday, right? Maybe. But I definitely missed the ship for this. And maybe I'll work on the baby room. I don't know. See if I can get my husband to help me assemble the crib. Not that we're going to use it, but it will make me feel better. And that's the point. Definitely need to do that. I'm going to see if he'll pick up the dry cleaning on the way home today. I just said I'm not going to put these down because I may do them on Sunday. But if I do them tomorrow, I can have the extra dopamine effect of checking them off here and here. What? Shower liner. I don't know why I did the shower curtain and liner is what I meant. And then I definitely need to get some more Thanksgiving groceries. I started with like the canned goods a couple of weeks ago just to like know I have what I need to have for that. But I'm thinking about making some apple turnovers because I had one at a local bakery yesterday and now it's all I can think about. And I think that would be a good dessert that the family would actually eat because they could take it with them instead of like a pie slice where like, oh, I'm okay for now, but then if they want it later, they can't ask me for it because the pie stays here, you know. And I try to send them off with stuff too, but they don't usually take a lot. So I feel like apple turnovers would be a good idea to send everybody with one anyways. And that way they will be able to do whatever. So this side is definitely getting a little fatter than the other side, but we're making it. I can definitely do a flip of everything that I have been missing. I probably will because a lot of this is not even planned. Like, it's just like bare bones of memory keeping because I tell y'all, when I found out about the pregnancy, like a lot of stuff just kind of dropped because I was like, I have to get adjusted to this new reality. So all of that to say, if you stuck around this long and you listen to me yap, I appreciate you for spending some time with me. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that you're doing well and staying safe, happy, and healthy. And I will see you at some point and maybe the next one. Y'all have a good one. Bye.